Popco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our 5 and 5, 5 topics, about a minute each. And let's get right to it, Barry. It's the World Cup. The world's largest sporting event has started in Brazil. Soccer has arrived in the U.S. Yes? No? Maybe?
Well, I don't know how to answer that. If the answer is true, then I feel sorry for soccer. Because to my way of thinking, it hasn't really made a major dent just because it may be more popular. You know, the truth of the matter is the U.S. national team is not any better than it ever has been. You know, our biggest success came decades ago. So it's not like all of a sudden the U.S. soccer talent pool is raising. I think you get a lot more yuppies all fired up about talking about the World Cup. I mean,
yuppies.
Yuppies. It's exactly.
What is this, the 80s?
You go to a Thunder pregame and sit around waiting for Scotty Brooks to come in and not say anything, and you got 3 or 4 guys talking about Croatia versus Portugal, or in some play-in game. So it's not really. I think it's more of a sort of a niche thing right now. I think soccer's still building. So the answer, I think, is no, because I think soccer has a lot more room to still get in. But it's going to have to survive and build on something other than the World Cup. You can't sustain something just every 4 years.
It's made a dent. I think that we can say that. I think it has made a dent in the American sports landscape. I think even as recently as, say, 5 or 6 years ago, I think that was still a little bit up in the air. But now I think you're starting to see TV numbers. TV numbers are up. You're seeing more matches. You're seeing the MLS, which is the pro league here in the U.S., actually have some of the better players in the world. I think it's something like 20 players that are playing in the World Cup this month are MLS players, and that number was virtually non-existent the last couple times there's been a World Cup and the MLS has been around. So I think it's making a dent, but until you see LeBron-esque players, maybe not LeBron, maybe that's too much. But, guys that you would see in the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, suddenly playing soccer, and you're like, ooh, that guy could be an NBA player. Then I think that's sort of an arrival moment. But until we get to that point, I think it's a dent. I think it's better, but I don't think it's there just yet. All right, Barry, another soccer player. Hey, our soccer question. Is there a player to watch in the World Cup? Somebody you're excited to see?
Pele? Diego Maradona? Landon Donovan? I'll keep throwing names, but I don't think you want George Best? David Beckham? Literally, this is a true statement. I can't name one player that's in the World Cup. Okay. Every soccer player I can name is a has-been.
Well,
a little bit like the National Hockey League. I can tell you way more hockey players from the 70s than I can today.
Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
Luis Suarez is a guy I want you to watch because...
Who's he play for? He
plays for Uruguay.
Uruguay, all right.
And if I got that wrong, I'm so sorry. But I'm pretty sure that's right. But he is volatile, and fantastic. He bit 2 guys in his pro league this year.
What's worse, biting somebody or flopping? Which is worse?
I think that's a good question. But he is so fun to watch, but you just never know if he's going to have one of those moments where he goes over the edge. So to me, he's a guy to watch. His team is a team to watch. So, and Barry, you're going to love it. The hair. There's some guys with some great hair. Be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, they do. It does seem to be a shortage of barbers in the World Cup.
All right, Barry, back to the hardwood. Can the Thunder be the Spurs? We're seeing the Spurs carve up the Heat in these NBA Finals. Can the Thunder become that franchise?
Well, they're going to have to hurry because, the Spurs, 4 championships, have a shot at a 5 right now in the Tim Duncan era. If the Thunder's going to get to 5 championships in the Kevin Durant era, they're going to have to hurry. They're at 0 right now, and Durant's 25. So it's unlikely. Can the Thunder win 2 or 3? Definitely, during the Westbrook Durant run that they've got ahead of them. But, you got to win 1 before you can even start talking about it. So I think it's a little premature. The Thunder clearly has used the Spurs blueprint. They've done a lot of things right. They've done a lot of things just like the Spurs, but they haven't won yet. So they got to start doing it.
Yeah, and I think they can be, but you got to continue to build. I mean, that's the thing about the Spurs. They've continued the process. They haven't relaxed. They haven't relented. Yes, it's a lot about keeping that core together, keeping Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker, keeping those guys. But they've continued to add pieces, whether it's through draft, whether it's through free agency or trade. They've continued to build and add pieces. And I think the thing, the championships, obviously you want to win championships, but 17 consecutive seasons that the Spurs have been in the playoffs. If you get in the playoffs, if you give yourself a chance, that's a huge step. And the Thunder is now, 6 consecutive? 5 consecutive? You got to start with a couple, and they've at least got down the road. So that's a good sign for building towards that Spurs blueprint. All right, Barry, our fun question of the week. Finish this sentence. If I was Sam Presti.
If I was Sam Presti and was the accomplished drummer that I am, and so completely enamored with Oklahoma culture, I would start a country music band. Let's see how a guy from Boston can handle country music. If Sam does that, then no one can ever deny him the fact that he's an Oklahoman through and through. I'd like to see Sam banging away on some cymbals and some drums to some good old country tunes.
I like it. I like it a lot. Now, if I was Sam Presti, I think I would figure out a way to continue to spruce up my eyewear. This guy is very vanilla, but his glasses are clearly a thing for him. And he kind of changes them up, and you see something different. I think I'd just go all out. Do something crazy. I mean, I don't know if I'd go Russell Westbrook or not.
Lensless?
Well, I think he actually needs the lenses. So I think he's going to have the glasses. But why not go blue or, I mean, a little personality.
It's clearly a defining mark for him. No doubt about it.
That's his thing. All right. Now let's get serious, Barry. Okay, finish this sentence. If I was Sam Presti, he's got all sorts of summer to-do list items. If I was Sam Presti, what?
Re-sign Reggie Jackson. We talk about bringing in a replacement for Thabo, whether it's through the draft, whether it's through trade, whether it's through free agency, whether it's promoting Reggie Jackson to the starting lineup and finding a new backup. I think most important is signing Reggie. The Thunder loves Reggie Jackson. He's turned into a very good player. His numbers took a huge jump this year. He played twice as many minutes per game, but his numbers jumped way more than twice. So he's up in a very good production range. He's still young, still athletic. He can get better on defense. The Thunder loves him. I think that's priority number one.
Yeah, I think that's high on the list, but sort of with a clock ticking, I think if I was Sam Presti, I'd make sure to use that trade exemption. He got a trade exemption that expires, I think, in a little less than a month. And if he uses that, it could really help the Thunder maybe fill in for Thabo Sefolosha. Our man Darnell Mayberry did a fantastic look at some guys that could be targets, that people might think are targets that maybe aren't. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go to newsok.com and our Thunder page and check it out. But a couple really interesting names that he threw out there and then labeled as good possibilities. A guy like Randy Foye, a guy like Iman Shumpert, guys that have shown good potential, maybe kind of look like one-way players at this point, but could potentially evolve into two-way players. Some really interesting names out there that I think, when you think about Thabo Sefolosha and what he became, why couldn't they become, that kind of player or better? I think that there are some interesting names, and I think Sam Presti's got to get using that, and I think there are some options out there that are really, really intriguing. All right, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.